I am not a cameraman, nor am I a technical whiz. That's heir apparent. Because on the last videos, you had it like all set up perfectly, and then at one point I stopped it and moved it, and then everybody was like cut from the waist up. Oh, I'm very excited.
This may be the end of the treadle hammer for tonight. But...
Oh man, I want to use it. You made it look all exciting.
It is. I've got your gloves and your arm brace over there.
Yeah, I was watching some of your old videos. You only have like one other left-handed friend. The guy, I think he's one of your brothers from the lodge with the glasses. He's left-handed.
Yeah, Mike.
Mike. Lucky him. He gets to. There's like 3 people at my work, and one woman doesn't explain or she doesn't speak really very well English. I don't either. She doesn't speak English very well, and I had to have help explaining. She just kept looking at me, and finally this one guy came in, he explained to her in Spanish, he's trying to tell you he's left-handed. I'm like, I know what you said, I just don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's for a little person.
Yeah, those are the ones that came with the damn forge from China. So it's like, oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's very narrow and squeezing the crap out of my hand. Feels like I have to. Oh, this is awesome. Look at this.
Wow. Yep, and that's just it. That's the whole idea.
Oh, here,
Step on it.
We get it more in the frame.
That's basically a 15 or an 18-pound head.
Wow.
So of course it's a hell of a lot easier to move that with your leg than it is with your arm.
Let me see if we got. I think it's in most of them. Still impressive. Oh no! Oh. We inspired Cliff to fire up his forge. So now Rev is doing blacksmithing, and he did a metal sculpture that he was about to sell.
Yeah.
And it's the same conversation. What do you want to use? A fake email, or your own email, or your phone number? And how much do you want for it? So that's been a 2-week conversation.
Well, there's a new gentleman in the lodge.
Yeah.
Ivan, the Russian blacksmith in my lodge, passed away.
Oh man.
But Vladimir was a friend of Ivan's. Who's also a Russian blacksmith. Amazing artisan blacksmith. He and his wife. In fact, they're friends on Facebook.
Oh.
So I've been sharing their stuff. So when you see some of those pieces that he does, they're incredible. And the thing with Vladimir, Ivan had a thick accent, but he spoke English well. Vladimir has limited English. His wife doesn't speak English, but they use Google on their phone to translate. So she'll say what she wants on the phone and then show it to me, and then she'll have me talk to the phone, and then it's been really
works,
cool.
man. Yeah, at least you can navigate that way.
Their work is
superb,
amazing, just gorgeous.
Wow. Oh, okay. Gotta stand out of the frame. So we can get up. You're not gonna use the. Okay, damn it. This you can trust. Not men, not gods. And we're getting some of the beautiful sunset. That is the fun, scary part. When you bend the shit out of it, and you're like, whoa. Oh, okay, I can put it back. Well, I thought we were going to do knives.
Okay.
It's up to you. You're the teacher. I'm down to learn anything.
Whatever you want to learn, whatever you want to make, you've learned the basics. You've learned all the standards.
I can just go at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is that the wrong one?
No.
Wrong tongue? Those are
I was
easier.
wondering if this one might work a little better.
Oh, I see what you mean.
This is meant for larger. Yeah,
This is going to be like the blade, and this will be the hilt instead.
Well, yeah, I would use this as the butt. Now, there's two things that you can do with this. You have enough material here, you could actually make a tomahawk.
Really?
So you can hammer this out and make a tomahawk.
I have lots of knives, but the only tomahawk I have is, well, it's a pipe, so it's not. I can't hit anybody with it.
You can use this to make a small tomahawk. A lot of people do that. There's another practice. And this is great practice because you see you have material here that's been flattened out this way. What you want to do then is you want to start to drive this material down and out, and you can even use some of this material because you're going to put the beard on this side, and the main part of your blade is going to be up here.
Oh, the blade goes here. We're going to make the hammer part on this side.
Yeah, you're gonna make the
okay,
hammer
I
part
was
here.
totally.
So you can make a tomahawk by driving this. So what you're going to do is you're going to look to flatten that down, push that out, and drive this. So this would then become the beard of your tomahawk blade.
See, I had a totally different idea in mind from when you said that. I said, oh, okay, we'll make a hammer out of this. And instead of the blade, just do a spike.
You can
like
do
a
that
hook.
too.
Like, well, you know, like the traditional war hammer is it's more like a ball. It's more like one of the slant peas than it is
You can
like
do that as well. But one of the
I don't know.
things
Now I'm excited about the idea.
well, and the reason why is a lot of folks. My understanding is that a lot of the old railroad spikes when they got pulled would be turned into a knife, they'd be turned into a hatchet or a tomahawk.
Take that and beat the crap out of it and make whatever the hell they want.
So a blacksmith could use that to make anything they wanted. You can use these tongs.
Well, I figured you had these out already. But it's always fun to put it here. Now they're not gonna get frisky in there, are they?
No.
Oh no.
I'll go ahead and have one more go at the Damascus. And then
Oh, I didn't know you were going to pull it out so early. I would have put it in there better. That's on me. Okay, here we go.
this out. I want to make it longer. I'd like to lengthen this at least another 3 inches or so, then cut it, drop it back on itself, and do it again.
Cut it, drop it back on itself, and forge weld it again. Check.
All I'm doing is using this as a peen, cross peen, to ask the material to stretch. Because this is so thick, right. Because this is so thick and I've only got about 5 heats in it, it's not moving as easily. Gotcha. And I want to give you time at the forge, so I'm going to call this one done for now. And I'm going to put it in the sand. Okay. And that kind of like pauses it? Well, it gives it this is a perfect place for it to cool. I don't want to put it in the oil. No. Because the oil's going to try and harden it. And I'm not looking to harden it right now. This I want to... You could feel the heat from like 2 feet away, 2.5 feet away from that. Holy man. Like we had said before. Oh man, it's smelling my phone. Don't do that, stupid. Okay. It's just amazing. This is pine. Yeah, the pine wood, which is relatively soft. On this. Whoa! that is how
About
hot
a little
that is.
fire, Scarecrow.
And now,
Okay. Well, that, yeah, you can see the fire coming
this is
out
fire.
of it. Yes.
You can see that, but this isn't
Because
fire.
it's getting darker, you can even see it. Oh, I don't want to run into the propane there.
But if I hold that there,
Oh, I see what you're doing.
that still singes.
Oh, wow.
So even that's hot enough. You could light a cigarette off the side
All
of that.
of that.
Off of a burner on
If
the
I
stove.
still smoked, I would, but I don't.
I don't light my cigars off of that because I like an open flame.
Yeah.
Since we want to do this,
We had to
I'm gonna
detain.
cut down.
We had to detain a drunk guy last night, and that was one of the first questions he asked me. You got a cigarette? Sorry, dude. I quit about 8 years ago. I can't help you. I could light it for you, but I don't have tobacco for you.
That's right.
What are we doing in there? Oh, wow. It's already glowing white hot in there.
Yeah, because the heat was so high in there, or it's going to take this. You're not going to have the same wait time that you had before, because there's enough heat and material in there
Yeah.
that you won't need 3 or 4 heats to get the heat into the core.
How's that? Okay, yeah, that was super hot. I was impressed how crazy that was. Oh man.
So now, you can decide how you want to attack that.
No, I like your new idea. So I'm gonna flatten this part out, and I'm gonna bring that to a hammer.
Yep. So what I would do
Okay.
is,
Yeah,
since
here
you got
comes some
to keep
wisdom.
the tongs off of the head, that way you can keep that. So you're fine now.
Oh, instinct is correct. Good.
And now you can just work it and hammer it.
Oh, okay. That's much. Oh, that feels much better. So bring that down.
And just straight down, that's all you're worried about is a straight strike. And when you do work on one side, then you roll it and you do the same work on the other side. So you can see how you're already starting to
Oh
move.
wow, yeah, it's already flat on that side. That's crazy. Love it. Just look at it. It's like, yeah, I want to make a knife, but tomahawk? Oh my God, yes! That's way cooler. You could throw those. Knives, well, isn't that a lot of balancing and sharpening to have throwing knives?
Yep.
Where a tomahawk, well, you miss, you split his head open, it's okay.
That's right, I just gotta hit you.
Yeah. Oh no, it's getting all cattywampus.
That's okay. Remember,
Okay.
you keep heating it up, you keep moving it, you move it back where you want it. So if it's getting cold, put it back in the heat.
It's getting a little cold, it's harder to manipulate. I want to smack it with the hammer. Okay. Back in you go. Alright. Because it's got to be about the same. Because you can't say, oh, like, because China isn't China. That's the common misconception way, 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 way back when. It's actually many different countries.
Yep.
And the same thing with, like, the Greek, or especially the Hellenistic period. They're not Greeks till, like, the end. They're the Mycenaeans, the Spartans, the,
Yeah,
you
they
know,
were the
Minoans,
different-
the Athenians.
They were different
like,
city-states.
Thank you very much. We'll do it from here. Do you have, how do you do it normally? Do you do it on a laptop? Can we just like bring Guy out here and do it
Yeah,
on?
I have my laptop.
Holy crap, that would be awesome. Because, well, as soon as he's done eating, you've got Facebook on your thing, so we're saved that way. Because, I mean, somebody had to come up with the idea. Or honestly, I think it's like this. I don't think it was that simple. I think, like all great, yeah, we need Guy here now. we're ready. I think it was the same way of glass and vitrification. where we stumbled onto the result.
Mhm.
We did not, and then we later backtrack because, like all great discoveries, first it's, it's linked with the divine.
Mhm.
Well, no, this can't be divine. This happens again and again, so it must be.
We figured it out. So it's either divine or it's divine inspiration.
Yeah.
And divine inspiration becomes the standard. But nobody knows. I don't think anybody could tell you without a shadow of a doubt. Oh well, in this area, the very first coppersmiths figured it out. Bullshit. What ended up happening? Copper is a normally existing material, but it doesn't. It's not a pretty copper that we're used to. It's green, and it's in a rock. And somebody pulled those rocks and put them around a fire, and heated up a fire, and they were cooking something. And all of a sudden, they said, "What's this? That looks really cool."
It's pretty.
Yeah, and people started looking at it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, if we burn these rocks, we get this cool stuff, and it's strong.
Yeah.
And then somebody else said, if I put it all together, I can make something out of it. And then they figured out, well, I can get it hot enough, I can pour it, and then I can cast something out of it.
And make something pretty.
And then somebody else said, well, you know what, if I start beating on that casting with a rock, it gets harder. And that's when copper tools came around. They said, oh shit. Then somebody else, I'm sure, made a mistake. Oh my God, here's copper. And I accidentally spilled some tin.
Oops.
And,
You've created bronze.
But this is cool and it works. And then look, I
It
cast
lasts
it out.
longer.
And it gets stronger. Iron was the same way. Iron blooms, but you have to get it very hot. And then they figured out, oh shit, if I can get it hot enough, then I can start working it. And then I can make tools out of it.
Yeah.
So that was the progression over time. But numerous people would have stumbled upon it. And what would have happened is, I would liken it to the way Freemasonry speaks about the old stonemasons. The old stonemasons that Freemasons take their history from. You had the guilds.
Sure you want to record this?
all of this is common knowledge. But you had the guilds. And the guilds were very, very particular about how they did things. I'm going to teach you to be a stonemason, but it's going to take you 7 years.
Yeah.
And you've got to promise that
You're going to
when
show
you
up for work every day.
well, it's not just that. When you become a stonemason, when I have made you a fellow of the craft,
Yeah.
when I have made you your own mason and you go out and do your own work, you can't just give this to anybody. You have to share it very carefully. So that was the whole idea. It was very protected. So metalsmithing, metalwork, was the same way. You learn, but you're on the other side of the mountain. And I learned, but I'm on this side of the mountain. And then one day we happened to bump into each other. It's like, I saw some of the stuff that you did. I'm a metal worker too. I do this and I'm able to get that. Oh, that's so cool.
What do you think of this method?
I
Really?
do this. And that was how those things came about. And then the kingdoms started to control things because the king wants to have, I need the strongest army. I need the best tools, the best materials,
I need the best
weapons.
addle-addles.
And that became the point. So as they went along, can you make me these little arrows? Can you make points to go on our arrows?
We can kill
sure,
people
I can do that.
way over there.
It's like, because I really hate that fucker, but he's all the way over there. I want to stab him.
No, I think you're right. I think it was an accident, either lightning or magma or fire pit, like you say, which is probably the most.
That would have been how regular being a relative term, but the regular folks would have spotted it at that point. Because lightning strike, they would go, oh, the gods left it here. And it's hot, we know it's hot.
Yeah,
So
it'll
not
touch it
get over
for a
there.
couple days.
But if you're always making a fire, and all of a sudden you look and you go, what's that?
Why did that
I've never
one-
seen that before.
Yeah.
Where did these rocks come from? Oh shit, they came from over there.
Yeah, we found them in that hole.
So that is how a lot of that stuff would have come about. And that becomes the interesting thing, because then the secrets, until you start getting kingdoms and guilds, the secrets would have been shared a little bit more freely. You might have gone to the next, or you might have gone to the next gathering, like Stonehenge and some of these where you would have these gatherings, and you're a metalsmith, and
Hey!
yeah, the group from across the way came and they have a metalsmith, and you're looking at what they do and they're looking at what you do.
Wait a minute.
Can we do this?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Did you see that? What is he? He's the crazy anthropologist that he kept saying there's more to Stonehenge. There's more to Stonehenge. It was. I think you saw it. I think we talked about this already. We probably have talked about this already. But they kept digging anywhere. They didn't find anything. All of a sudden, like years later, they're building a highway like a mile or two away, and they find Woodhenge.
Yep.
Okay, so that's extremely plausible that all of a sudden there would have been all these different tribes because, well, inbreeding. So let's bring our kids together. You know, it doesn't matter who your dad is, you belong to the tribe.
And that's like the latest thinking that I've seen, and the latest being within the last decade or so, is that all of these henges that have been found throughout Europe, Stonehenge just being the most famous.
There's a lot more.
But as they look, like you said, they found wooden henges that were outside, further out. And what they were is no one tribe owned that area. All these tribes came together, and they would come together at the winter solstice, at the summer solstice. And the point was, this was a religious time. They showed up, and this is where they exchanged. There was no fighting. There were no wars at that point in that place. And everybody came together for a very specific purpose. Now, what that purpose was, we can only guess.
Brave is a way toned down version of what we're talking about.
And so that becomes the whole idea, is that was how this came about.
Yeah.
And the records, you know, the archaeological records are very similar around the world. I mean, we're finding out that there were things going on in almost the same time frame of similar styles in Montana. You know, throughout the United States, throughout South America, in China,
the
which
Vikings
is hard to
got everywhere, man. They were the early Irish, where they were just all over the place.
That's right. You get a little Viking in you.
Well, we all do, but it makes a lot of sense too, because you have the overlap. You know, it was like we were talking, like having Rev on the show, you know, and then us on, you know, it's well, I mean, I'm connected by two worlds, so yeah, we're going to have that kind of thing. But it makes perfect sense that, if anything, it's, I need this thing. Well, I want this. Shit, I don't have that, but I can teach you how to make these things over here, which I've already sold, but I know you looked at them this morning before I got rid of them all. I'll teach you how to make them. You can sell them here. I need that to get home.
Yeah, I will trade you product, knowledge, or both.
Because future episode for the Geek Council, I would like to do a whole, like, I'm going to dig deep, like I'm doing a couple other ones right now, but the Silk Road. I mean, it's, for Americans, it's a footnote because it doesn't have the impact on this
side of the ocean.
On this side
That's
of that it does. And you know why it was the Silk Road and how that's a hidden secret, much like lapis, much like steel, much like several other things that were made, and you had to go there or be friends with some kind of captain or merchant that was, you know.
Well, and there were similar roads like that in the New
World, it wasn't the only
in
one.
the Americas, because you had all of the peoples in North America all the way up to the Arctic Circle, and they had, what was the most current one was beech nuts. Beech nuts do not grow below Nova Scotia, or no, I'm trying to remember, they don't grow above Nova Scotia, but they've been found all over northern Canada, and that is because of trade. People said, you have something we don't have, we have something you don't have, we're going to make a deal.
I totally believe it, because I can remember being like 9, 10, like really little, and we went to see Wapaki, which if you've never been in Arizona, Wapaki is way east in the state. It's almost in New Mexico. It's out by the Petrified Forest. If you keep going, you'll run into Chaco Canyon, which they don't know if it was the same people and they were that spread out or what was going on, but they had a huge Mesoamerican influence in Wapaki. The circular games, they had rubber, they had seashells, and they had feathers of parrots and macaws, which are, Arizona has the Carolina parrot, but it's not
not the same.
It's not the same as what's down in Central and South America and those birds.
Oh yeah, well,
So-
and they found metals. They found copper and gold and silver that can be traced to at least southern United States, but down into South America or Central America. Up in,
Where's Guy? Damn it, he should be a part of this. He's Mexican.
but they found those materials up in Canada or up in those areas, and they are the old materials, and that's because not that the Mayans walked all the way up to Canada or that the Canadians walked all the way down to Central America. It's because people trade shit. Hey, that's really cool. Where'd you get it? Oh, I got it over here, but you know, if you'd like it, I'll trade you for that thing that you got that I really like.
And then the advent of the Postal Service happens in our more modern, 300 or 400 years ago? Really, until, you get the modern Benjamin Franklin kind of like...
Because you had, when the Europeans started making their way to the New World, which is a misnomer, but when they made their way here, they brought that standard of longer distance communication only because
that's what
they
the
had
Romans
horses.
did. That's what everybody,
Right. In North America, we didn't have the horses until these peoples brought them. But they also said, okay, here's a beast of burden that you can use.
Awesome. We're going to make it huge.
I mean,
we're going to invent the quarter horse.
Central America and South America, they had things like, they had the llamas and whatnot, but they were not used at the same level.
Smaller cattle.
Right, because it wasn't something, very rarely would you see somebody dumb enough to jump on the back of a llama and say, I'm going to go for a 100-mile ride.
Kids, maybe.
No, you're not, because he's going to
toss
toss
you
your
and
ass
then kick you in the groin and then run.
He's going to call you horrible names and spit on you.
He's going to call you horrible names. You fucking human. Yeah, that's great.
Let me teach you about this. Ah!
It's getting that funky red, almost purple color. I don't have a finesse yet for that. Excuse me while I drop the lid on my hand.
Fingers!
The singeing and the burning.
One of my...
Because what is that called? What is it called? I think we were talking about it either just a minute ago, or I think Cliff and I were talking about it earlier. When everybody's doing the same thing at the same time at multiple different points in the world.
Oh, yeah.
If there's an actual name for it. When we're all picking up on the same frequency, the same thought.
I can't remember the technical term for it.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. And that happens in scientific research, in all research.
Well, the pyramids everywhere, that's probably the same thing as the wheel. Because the wheel is either aliens or it's seeing a rock roll or logs roll and going, wait a minute.
Well, think about it this way. What was the first, what is currently thought to be the first mode of moving heavy materials anywhere in the world that has been something that has been proven, at least with a scientific fact?
Logs and stones.
Logs.
And rope.
Because they've found that, okay, people looked and they said, hey, that log rolls. Now, what happens if I put some, it slides. Because somebody probably stepped on it. Wait a second.
Comedy.
I'm going to if I put a rock on there, I can push the rock, and it makes it easier to move. So that was how that came about. And somebody said, well, it's this big. What if I made it bigger? Maybe we can make it bigger. So the people started working wood, and they figured out, we can do this.
We can saw it here and cut this and chop this off.
So, yeah.
Make pegs and holes.
So stone tools got started on that. Then copper tools and saws became functional for that.
Replacement.
It's like, I get a kick when people say, it's impossible that these humans 5,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago could have ever done these things. How could they drill a hole through granite when all they had was copper tools? And the scientist comes up and he goes, you see this? This is silica. You realize that silica is harder than the granite. You realize that silica will embed in the end of this copper. Guess what? It takes a long time.
Yeah.
But when you have an interest and motivation, you'll get through that fucking rock.
The hardest part is feeding all the people and getting them to believe in it, either by force or by
and that comes. But
then they figured out too that when they did some more excavating, the whole area around the pyramid is like a makeshift.
Oh yeah.
People lived there. There were doctors. There was dormitories.
It was built for that purpose. They built it. You know, they brought in the people. They brought in slaves, and they brought in free people
that wanted to be a part of it
because they knew the king was going to pay. Are you a baker? Great. I've got 5,000 people that need to eat, and I've got 500 bakers. I need you out there.
I need you on the baker team.
Yeah. Are you a farmer? Good.
Fantastic. I need more wheat to
grow this wheat. I need you to grow this stuff. And this is how we're going to do it. And they always paid those bills because the king knew. The king knows, if I don't pay these people, there's 5,000 of them and there's one of me.
Yeah, they're gonna kill me in my sleep and murder me in my bed. But yeah, I don't think it was most great changes either happened all of a sudden right away or years of research and conditioning and stuff like that.
People learn. That's the one thing about the human mind is that most humans
most of the humans,
when something happens and it works, they learn that was a positive result.
Yeah.
When it doesn't work, they learn, oh, that was not what I should have done. So it's, you know, a lot of people like to talk about what was it? I think it was Edison who said, I didn't fail 895 times. I learned 895 times ways that it didn't work.
Yeah, to not do it. Now I'm seeing the shape in it.
Yep.
At first I was worried. Not in your guidance and my ability. Can I do that? Oh, I guess I can. Because they're making all kinds of different weapons at different times.
Yes.
Now the Saxons, that's a sea axe. That's an actual. They're named after a weapon, which is always badass. Isn't a frank a certain kind of blade too?
Well, there's Frankish blades.
Well, that's why the Franks, because the French are like the English and the Chinese, where they're like a bunch of different people, and then well, that's pretty much all of them. It's just safe in anthropology to say all of them do that at one point.
Yeah, and the Saxons had Saxons, but the Saxons were actually an older blade design.
Really?
So the Sax that people like to talk about, that was an old, that was used throughout Northern Europe. So the Rusk, those people that would later be known as the Viking groups, the Norse
Scandinavian groups.
So, but you have to remember that the same basic group, the Norse people, all the way to the steppes of Russia. And as they went, it wasn't one group. Again, it was all of these tribes. If you could have gotten somebody like Harold Bluetooth 1,000 years before,
master communicator,
they would have been able to stand toe to toe with anybody. They could have stopped, they could have stopped the Greeks from moving through Europe. They could have stopped the Romans. They could have stopped
Genghis Khan,
Genghis
the
Khan.
Assyrians, the Egyptians. Pick one. They've all.
But that became a part of it. Is they were they were warring amongst themselves. They were tribes. Everybody wanted to be the boss. And so that became a problem. But they shared so much commonality. The religion, even though it's like Carlin used to say, you know, do you believe in God? Yeah, so do I. Do you believe in my God? No. Okay, well, I got to kill you. But for them, it was...
Best con still running.
You know, for those peoples, it was, they had the same God, the different name. So, but then again, the people in the steppes of Russia spoke a different language. But when they could come together and they would still trade with each other.
Yeah.
And they might war a little bit, but they would still trade
still
with
had
each
to
other.
have, it's easier to trade than it is to fight.
Exactly.
That's probably, the Homo sapiens fought the Neanderthals. That's a waste of energy in an area where you're all together. They would have been watching animals, and even wolves only go into each other's territory and mess with you if it's a dire, if they're starving, if something else is going on.
Cross the boundary, then there's a problem.
Then there's a problem. Other than that, stick to your area, I'll stick to mine. And early man, because they say prostitution is the oldest profession, but I think it's agriculture. And I really think we were growing weed first, and then by accident, tracking animals, figured out, hey, if we bury their shit, hey, wait, it's actually these little things, not the shit itself. Oh, okay. Hey, some shit doesn't do anything at all.
Because they would have been tracking the animals, but they would have been eating what they could find. And they would have been watching, the animals would have watched the humans, or the whichever level.
Yeah.
And they would have said, oh, they're eating the berries. Okay, I can eat the berries too. And the humans are looking at the animals and they're going, oh, they're eating those leaves. I'm going to try those leaves.
Oh, they taste terrible, but I can live on them. But I think it was more of that, because I don't think it wasn't cut and dry like they try to teach you in history class. And unfortunately, it's not, because they're, the think tank, dude, they've got to squeeze thousands of years of information into.
I have to make it easy.
Yeah,
I'm teaching goldfish, basically.
Yeah, most people regard, the best thing is, like, everyone's mad at J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter thing, but from a psychological level, Professor Bim he's the magical history teacher, and he's a ghost.
Yeah.
He's dead, and he's still teaching. And the takeaway from it, and the humor from it, is that it's so boring, he doesn't know that he's dead, which always bothered me, because I had good history, I had a couple bad ones, but I had really good history teachers and people that were in love with history teaching it to me.
Yeah.
So I never really considered that. And first I was dragged all over Philadelphia when I was tiny to see everything, and Hawk Mountain and a bunch of other places in New Jersey and all that. And then when we came out here, the only Indian ruin I have not seen is Keats Seal, because you need Navajo permission, you need a guide, it's a whole thing. But Wapatki, Patatakin, Tonto, Tusigut, been to all of them. Casa Grande, been to all of them. Montezuma's Castle, Montezuma's Well.
Take people up to Robby. It's the longest continuously inhabited town or village in
all of that,
all of the Americas.
Or even Table Mesa's neat, because the natives still have eagles chained to the roof, and that takes some getting used to. It's like, what is it? Their feathers. Their feathers are like priceless. You're not allowed to own them as white men, and they get super mad.
You cannot have them, and it's a requirement. Yeah.
Hey man, I don't want to.
I can talk about it now, since Grandpa has passed and the property is long passed to someone else's hands. We had a nesting pair up there for about a decade of eagles, and it was amazing, because we took pictures, and we never spoke to anybody about it. Never told anybody where they were.
Yeah, you don't want them to go be over there.
And we never even let, because Grandpa knew Fish and Wildlife and everybody else.
Oh, wow.
Never said a word to any of them, because they could come in and say, well, you can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
But we kept that area safe. Oh, yeah.
This is now a preserve. Pack your shit and get out. That's awesome. I'm very very excited to use the files and make a blacksmith's blade.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, well, you know, society could collapse at any moment. And you really need something heavier than a machete. I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong. But you want something that'll break a bone, a connection, you know, take out an elbow, smash the kneecap. And the machete will give you a good sting and probably mess up your knee, but...
Like Little John always told us, when people ask what it is, you always tell them it's a mail opener. Just tell them if you spell it your way, I'll spell it mine.
That's awesome. Man, it's really coming together. Look at that.
Yeah.
Good close up. Flatten the shit out of it. Now it's like a musical note.
I've got Angela coming over on Friday again. She wants to do some more work.
What's that?
Angela.
Oh, she
wants
did?
to come over on Friday, so she's going to come back on Friday. Okay, by all means.
Yeah, Hannah wants to do it more. She's just...
This way I'm going to have to buy bigger tanks.
Yeah. Really, you are. All right, everybody chip in $30 for propane. Okay.
Hey, you know what? I have been thinking about doing that. Is just saying, well, you want to come over, you throw a couple of bucks in the bucket, and if you have special material that you want to work with, you bring it over.
Fair.
It's like when the lodge wanted me to do the railings, they kept asking how much? I don't know.
Propane.
What are you guys going to buy? And they looked at me. The only thing I told them, they had to buy the materials. I didn't charge them anything.
That was 40 minutes. We're going to stop it and start it again.